G'day watchers, welcome to the Perth Watch Budget Submariner Homage Showdown. After the 5-watch comparison, which I did a little while ago, the powers that be dictated that a tournament was in order. So the T-Vise was never really a contender. It really doesn't compare well with the other 4 contenders. So we've knocked that out straight away. I've done the comparison between the Invicta and the Star King before, so the organizers have retconned that into semi-final number 1. So the scores on the right of screen here for you guys to see a quick recap. The Invicta took the victory quite convincingly in that semi-final. So today what we have is semi-final number 2 between the Loriot and the Pagani design. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, so here we have the 2 contenders side by side, the Loriot versus the Pagani. Just quickly introducing the watches. This is the Loriot L9201G Submariner Homage. So MSRP of both these watches about the same, around the 110 to 120 mark. Acquisition price of the Loriot around $70. On the right side, of course, is the Pagani design. This one is PD1639 is the model. So similar acquisition price, around 75. Some people said they could even get it for under 70 on sale at times. Okay, so very similar price range, almost identical. So let's just get into the categorical comparisons here. All right, so first up, movement or caliber. So the Loriot has the Seagull ST16 or a clone. Nobody really knows. It could well be a clone, but at least it looks like a Seagull ST16. The Pagani design has the Seiko NH35A. They say is a Japanese movement. In fact, on the dial there, if you can see at the bottom here, not sure whether this camera resolution and zoom is enough, but it says Japan movement down the bottom there. So they kind of advertise it as Seiko. Some people have said that when they compared it side by side with a genuine NH35 or 4R movement, there are differences. So some people suspect it's a clone. Whatever the case is, I think the mark has to go to the Pagani, assuming that they are genuine. I think you have to give the mark to the Seiko. So I've given 8 for the Pagani, 7 for the Loriot here. The regulation is slightly better for the Pagani. It's running about -6. This one's running about +12. Okay, next up then, case and bezel. All right, so I think the Loriot case finishing is actually rather good for the price, in terms of the transitions, the fineness of the brushing, the polish at the side. I think really it is slightly better than the Pagani in terms of the case. The bezel is better on the Pagani, and I'll get into that a little bit better. But I think the actual finishing on the case of the Loriot is better. The bezel is definitely better on the Loriot in terms of fit. The Pagani is just a bit loose. You see on that position, I can actually turn it. There's a slight play there. There is also a slight play on the Loriot, but the overall fit and feel is better. They're both 90 clicks, so neither the optimal number of clicks, but I gotta say in this case the Loriot takes the mark. The other thing is the Pagani does have some QC issues. If you look at the triangle at the 12 o'clock position, there's some paint or something that has contaminated that triangle there. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. So I think no doubt I have to give the mark to the Loriot in this case, and I've given 7 versus 6 for the case bezel mark. Okay, next up, dial and crystal. Look, they both have sapphire. Okay, both these watches are sapphire. I think the Loriot clearly has a much more classic Submariner look with the 40mm size. Pagani is in 42. It's more towards the so-called maxi dial than the sunburst of the Pagani. And the Loriot is flat. The sunburst of the Pagani does kind of pop, but the hands are slightly too short, I would say, for the 42mm case size. But at the same time, I would say the Cyclops in the Pagani is one of the best third-party or homage Cyclops I've seen. It really does 2.5 times, as opposed to the Loriot, for example, which doesn't do anywhere near that. So I think they have some weaknesses, some gives and takes here. In the end, I think the mark kind of evens out, and I've given 7 for both on the dial and crystal mark here. Okay, next up then, bracelet. Okay, they both have solid end links. I've shown this in the full reviews before, but just to show you guys again, solid end link there, right? Solid end link there. But the thing with the Pagani is that amazingly, it does give screw link adjustment, and it's got a rather solid class. You know, it's got this lever construction here, you know, pretty fair looking, you know, arms there. And it does have a kind of 4mm comfort extension, not so much a dive extension. The Loreo is push pins, and it has a much more, I guess, generic OEM factory type of Chinese class here. So I think no doubt I have to give the bracelet mark to the Pagani here. I mean, the Pagani does have some fit issues. So for example, I've shown this before, this end link here, right? It's very stiff, and so is the second link there. It's harder to show, but that end link is definitely very stiff. It doesn't just you know, fall easily. So there are some fit issues here, right? It's not completely fantastic, but I think because of how much they are popping into that bracelet in terms of all those features and specs, I have to give the mark to the Pagani. So I've given 7 versus 6 for the bracelet mark. Okay, next up, quality then. All right, so you know, for the price, I think they are both pretty good. I think the Loreo case and bezel is better, as I've mentioned. I think the Pagani bracelet and the finishing on the bracelet is definitely better if you take a closer look, and the Cyclops is better. I think there's a bit of, you know, again, the Loreo is better in some aspects, the Pagani is better in some aspects. They kind of even out, and I have to say I can't differentiate the mark here. I'm given 7 out of 10 for both of these watches on the quality category here. Okay, next up, style. So this is subjective, and they kind of course, have the stolen good looks. So I think it's got to be even marks for me here. You know, the Loreo is more the classic 40mm Submariner look and size and proportions. The Pagani is more towards the, I guess, the super case, if you will, but of course they've supersized it for 42mm, so that, you know, that's a bit subjective whether you like that or not. But I think, you know, they both have their looks that are taken from Rolex, and for the mark I'm going to give the same here. So it's the Rolex Submariner good looks for 8 out of 10 in my opinion. Some people don't like the sub, you might give it a lower mark, but I'm going to go even here for 8 out of 10. Okay, next up, performance. So I think in this case the Loreo takes it. Right, this is hopefully not so you know, controversial. The Loreo has better lume, I think. You know, the Pagani does have kind of this weak blue colored type of lume, which is not very fantastic. And the Loreo definitely has better water resistant rating at 200 meters, as well as the bezel fit I've mentioned is better on there. I mean, the Pagani gives 100 meters and that kind of poor fitting bezel. I think there's no doubt in my mind, at least, I have to give the mark to the Loreo for the performance rating here. So 8 versus 7 on performance category for me. Okay, next up, durability. Right, so in this case, you know, in the review that I did of Pagani, I showed you and explained all this before. Ceramic bezel, right, a solid bracelet with, you know, kind of milled clasp or milled arms with screw links, right, sapphire. The Loreo doesn't give quite as good a bracelet, nor does it have the ceramic insert of the bezel. So I think you have to give the mark to the Pagani here. So 8 versus 7 in my mind. I think this isn't really that controversial. I think we really do need to give the win to the Pagani here. All right, value, nearly there, guys. So I think the Loreo is pretty darn good, right? They're both pretty darn good, right? With sapphire crystal on both, the Loreo giving a solid movement, you know, pretty good finishing, asking price of around $70 you have to pay. It's very good value, I think, 8 out of 10 for me. But the Pagani, I think I have to go 10 out of 10 because there's no watch at this price range that I'm aware of, no other watch that comes close in terms of giving ceramic, sapphire, Seiko movement or clone, and the bracelet specs that this watch gives. You know, it is really unparalleled for the specs that it ticks off. It's just astounding, the features that it packs in. So, you know, in my mind, at least for this category, and hopefully you'll agree, it's 10 out of 10 for Pagani, 8 out of 10 for Loreo. And last one, guys. Okay, brand. So look, they're both pretty opaque brands. They're not very transparent at all. You know, difficult to find a lot of information on the background of both Loreo and Pagani Design. They're mainly driven by homage watch sales, but they do offer pretty decent value. I can't separate them on brand. If you know any other additional information on the specifics of the brands, please let me know. But for me, even marks here 6 out of 10 for both. Okay, so if you've been adding up, you'll know the marks. The Pagani takes it slightly by 3 marks, 74 versus 71 on the totals. So guys, in summary, so a close battle with ties in the dial, quality, style, and brand categories that I've given here. Lorient has the better case and bezel along with better performance ratings, but the Pagani takes it with categorical wins in movement, bracelet, durability, and the value departments there. So it's an edge to the Pagani today. Okay guys, so there we go. That's my comparison head to head between these two watches. Let's flip it around now for the wrap up. So there you go guys, my comparison between the Lorient Submariner Homage and the Pagani Design one. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. Let me know if you think I got any of those categories wrong, or in fact I got the whole comparison wrong. I know many people did like the Pagani Design from previous videos I have done, but would like to hear your thoughts about this comparison. Look out for the final between the Pagani Design and the Invicta Pro Diver coming to you very soon. So guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. I put out new content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time.